First story: emotional affair forgiveness. Outside of therapy and family, I haven't really talked about this. I am sure that by the time I finish writing this post, I will be an emotional wreck on the outside versus just the inside. This is going to be a really long post, so I understand if you don't read through this. Maybe almost more for me than anyone else. I, 30F, had an emotional affair with an acquaintance of my husband's. It lasted about 2 months before I told him. We were both married with kids. It has been about a year since everything. There is nothing that I regret more in my life. The shame and the guilt destroys me daily. Family and my therapist have told me that I need to work on forgiving myself, but I can't. Knowing the pain that I caused my best friend makes me physically ill if I think too long on it. From the very beginning, I have accepted full responsibility for my actions. I never should have let this man into my life the way that I did. However, therapy has brought up a lot of the why. My behavior is inexcusable, but that doesn't mean that there are no reasons as for why I, and others in these scenarios make the choices we have. So why? Why did I have an affair? I think the answer here is complicated. My marriage was failing. My husband and I were at such a point that I was miserable. We have young children, so divorce seemed like an awful choice, and I truly love him. I asked for marriage counseling, which he refused. He was coming home late every single evening. He was drinking to cope with the stress. He was making mean comments about my body during a massive body transition for me. He shut me out. He stopped communicating with me. I truly believed at that time he was no longer in love with me. I felt like he was only staying with me because it was easier than divorce. I was not communicating effectively. I was constantly angry, which in turn caused him to shut down even further. I missed the fact that my husband was suffering from depression and that all of the above behavior, which was out of his norm, was a result of that. I was going through massive body changes and a stranger in my own skin. I was and am traumatized by the fact that a family member had just told me they suspected my father was sexually abusing me as a child. I was spiraling down a very deep hole. Then he came over to our house. This wasn't the first time that I met him, but was the first time since all my body changes that he had seen me. We all got drunk and he watched my husband treat me differently. He watched me cry in the garage. He watched and saw me be vulnerable. Then he pounced. He kissed me that night. I pushed him away. He apologized the next day and started talking to me about all the things that were going wrong in his life. I commiserated with him. We shared our fears. He listened to everything. He sympathized with me, told me all the things I wanted to hear, but started being more aggressive about his opinions. If I said anything positive about my husband, he told me that I was being brainwashed, that I was being emotionally abused and should be smart enough to see the signs, but then would give me all the attention that I was lacking in my marriage. He told me he loved me, that I was his true soulmate. He took a very vulnerable woman and manipulated every single thing. When I tried to end it, he spoke about suicide. It was exhausting and terrifying. When I finally told my husband, I think I was incredibly relieved to no longer carry that burden, that secret. I was nervous to tell him because of how our lives would change, but still at that point thought the man hated me. I thought he would be annoyed, but it gutted him. I have seen this man cry twice in our relationship. He was devastated. I was shocked at the intensity of his reaction. Hand on a Bible, I didn't think he felt anything for me anymore. In therapy, we talked about things. His part in the state of our marriage before everything, my part in it and in the affair. We went to therapy about 5 times before he refused to go anymore, directly after I told him. We were in therapy within a week of my telling him. Our therapist told us that she was shocked that we were still together, even before the affair, as there is significantly more background. That would take a small book to explain. She said we had experienced more trauma together than most couples she sees at the 30-plus year mark together. She also called us her star couple for not resenting each other, but simply trying to piece things back together. Here's where I am turning to you all. For anyone that made it this far, we are a year out. Although I have not forgiven myself for the affair, I have forgiven myself for the things I did prior, contributing to the mess my marriage was beforehand. I have forgiven my husband for icing me out, for the way he treated me. He has not forgiven me. Our marriage is mostly fine. Our sex life is great. We go on dates, we communicate. We both put in the effort every single day. But he still tells me if we discuss it, that he does not trust me, and he has not forgiven me. He refuses to wear a wedding ring. He took it off the day I told him about the affair, and never put it back on. He told me that he won't ever wear that ring again, as it reminds him of broken promises, but has turned down my offer to buy a new one, for a new start. My ring doesn't fit anymore and he viewed mine the same way, so neither of us wear rings. He isn't comfortable with me around men. He has asked me if I have things going on with other men in our life. When I ask what I did to make him feel that way, he says nothing. He says that I am not doing anything in particular, he just felt the need to ask. I constantly feel like I can't talk to men about other men, and when we are in social situations, that I need to make myself small and bland. I am terrified of friendliness in any way being construed as me reaching out. So when does forgiveness come? How can I earn that trust back? I don't know what else to do. I spend every single day trying to be the best wife I can possibly be. I have nightmares about him leaving, because I feel like at any point he is just going to say no. I can't forgive you and I am done. For me, forgiveness was immediate. It doesn't mean I have forgotten the way he treated me and the mistakes we made, but I forgive him. What more can I possibly do? It breaks my heart that we go about life mostly fine, but have this final gap between us that he refuses to discuss. He won't go to therapy, even though I think we need it still. He won't discuss rings, and when asked about forgiving me, he says he doesn't know. I am lost, y'all. Do I just wait? Am I being irrationally impatient? Thank you for reading if you did. Second story. How to handle this? My girlfriend of a year and a half, possibly the mother of my child, cheated on me with her boss at work. I say possibly because she cheated on me before when we first started dating. There could be more. I don't know. So last week I had some people tell me that she was cheating on me. I confronted her about it and she said they were just rumors. There was nothing to worry about. That had no reason not to believe her, the love of my life, the mother of my child. Then one day I went through her work bag and found a note that she wrote to the guy. Then I found an email address and a password. When I went through it, I found that she was planning on leaving me, high and dry, like I was a piece of trash. The funny thing about this, before she started working there, I had worked with a guy for almost 7 years now. We weren't friends, but we weren't enemies. We talked, we laughed together. If I would have hung out outside work but had different hobbies and friend group. But I guess it started when his wife was talking to an inmate and they were going through something. So her being a kind-hearted person was trying to help him through it. Me being understanding of how that place works now. People like to start stuff and run their mouth. No big deal. I get it. I can't be emotionally available to help him out and seem like she was going to help him get back on his feet. So I didn't think nothing of it, and then slowly, day by day, things started acting weird. But I trusted her, so I let it go. People asked about it and I was like just trying to help him out, do it all. Oh, was I wrong? I don't know how long it's been going on. She denied it and denied it. But after I found the note in the emails, I lost it. Probably didn't handle it the best of way, knowing that she's possibly the mother of my child. I still don't know the full story of how this all become, but she's leaving me for him. They're moving out this week, so I've been told. She started packing your stuff today. It wouldn't be so bad, but I have a son with her. I was told I would never have kids, but I have to win the lottery twice before I had kids. So I believe this is my miracle baby, my son. My love. my joy, my everything. But now I have doubts that he's mine, Christ's sakes. She slept with my best friend when we first started dating. Kept it from me for almost a year and a half now. The timeline fits when he could possibly been conceived, but I don't know the exact dates they did what they did. And she's questioning why I want a paternity test. So today I'm going to go get a test from the store and see what happens. Either outcome of the test will be devastating to me, 'cause now he's not mine and I lose him forever. For I have to raise child with a woman that cannot stand to look at, hear her voice, look at her picture. It sickens me to the degree that I cannot describe. This is supposed to be the mother of my child. Didn't really have a father growing up, and I'm telling myself I would never abandon my child no matter what happens. It hurts me in a way I can't fully grasp, but how am I supposed to co-parent with somebody I can't even look at? How do you get over this? This act of betrayal, not once but twice, a double whammy. And she pretends like nothing's wrong but just a normal day. Feels like she has no regret of what she's done or care. She said she's sorry, said she didn't want to, but it just happened. When first started dating I told her and cheated on her before. I don't like it, and if you're going to cheat on me just fucking leave me instead. But she didn't, did the exact opposite right out the get-go. It's crazy. Our lives entangled together. There's no way for me to get away. It's a good paying job. Easy money. Not to mention there's not that many places around here that pays that well. So I have to go to work and hear people talk and ask questions and deal with it when I just want to forget about it. And when the rumors started I gave her an out. No hard feelings. We can move past this for the sake of her son. But she told me she loved me. And it wasn't true. She wanted to be with me. Wanted to get married to me. But turns out she's just buying her time so she can move on to the next person. I don't know what to do next. I'm at a loss. Probably doesn't make sense, but I need to get my story out there. I'll try to repost it when I'm more level-headed and can control my thoughts. Third story. My girlfriend cheated, now she regrets it. In June of 2022, I am 28, met my girlfriend, F26. I travel for work, so a lot of our relationship has been long distance. Before we met she got a DUI and never told me. 2 months into our relationship she got another DUI. I thought it was her first. I told her we would figure it out together. We broke up for 2 days that December, but she said it was a dumb, angry mistake to break up and wanted to get back together. After a few more months I could tell how stressed she was with work and our relationship being long distance, so I told her that I made enough money to support us while she gets the DUI behind her. That following May she quit her job and traveled on the road with me, which caused some issues because I work so much and didn't always feel like doing something after work. But she had been home all day, so she always wanted to do something. This caused us to hit a rough patch in the relationship, which is when she started talking to her ex through emails and phone calls while I was at work. I didn't find out about this until the following November of 2023, when I was about to start a new job traveling and had plans for her to be on the road with me still. Her ex messaged me and told me about how they had been talking through email and phone calls for months. He got mad because she finally told him that she wanted to really focus on our relationship and to leave her alone. So he snitched on her. Good for him, but also fuck him for talking to someone he knows is in a relationship. When I confronted her about it, of course she started to lie and say that it was just a friend. I didn't know who her ex was. She eventually told me that it was her ex. This is also when I found out during our 2-day breakup in December of 2022 that she had slept with her ex and lied to me about it when we got back together. Knowing all of this information, I decided to end things and left to start my new traveling job. After about a month of missing my dogs, I decided to give her another chance because she had really convinced me that I am the man she wanted to build a future with. What a mistake, lol. Fast forward to June 20th, 2024. We had been doing good but had another rough patch over the last 6 months. Guess who messaged me again? Her ex, letting me know they had once again been talking via email and phone calls while I was at work. He explained that she had convinced him they would get back together and she would leave me. So I confronted her and told her that all I needed to know is if she wanted to keep our dog or not. She said that I could keep the dog and she packed her things and left. Another guess on where she went? Straight to her ex's house, which was in Mississippi. We were in Phoenix for work. After she was with him, fucked him for a couple days, and seen that I posted an engagement ring for sale. Cost me $8,000. I am selling for $5,500. She called me, asked me if I was really going to propose, in which I responded with "It doesn't matter anymore." She then said "It might not matter to you anymore, but it makes me feel really stupid and that I've made a mistake. I just felt like I had to close this chapter of my life." She then talked about how the future might bring forgiveness and I guess hopes that we might work things out. So she talked to him while we were together earlier in our relationship and fucked him during our 2-day breakup. Now she had been talking to him again, and when I told her to leave she went straight to him to fuck him again, but wants me back in her life again. I am obviously stupid for taking her back the first time, but I'll be damned if I make that mistake again. Typing all of this out has been therapeutic. I feel like I have hatred towards the way she treated me, but at the same time I feel like I could never hate her. I will always love her because I have never loved anyone the way I loved her. Being abandoned by nearly everyone as a child, including my parents, and throughout my teenage years, I feel like she was the first person I ever truly let in and let myself feel something for. Why are people so shitty? I paid for everything, literally everything. I always opened her door. I always tried to compliment her. I always tried to buy her flowers. I always tried to make time for her even though I was working 80-hour weeks. Question of a lifetime. Are there still people worth fighting for out there? Fourth story. It's been over a year after day. We separated, but it still hurts. I 32M. Broke up with my ex, 31F. 3 months after day after having a sort of a second day. Finding out she cheated again with AP. It's my first relationship. We were together since high school. I do truly think the affair was probably the best thing that could have happened to finally separate us because we stayed together way too long, and we weren't compatible anymore. I was deprived of affection, of intimacy. I was longing at it for a long time, and then got crushed even more by finding out about her affair. I feel this pressing need to recover my lost time. I'm still rebuilding my self-confidence. In the meantime, I expanded my social circle. I entertained my hobbies. I learned new things. I do a lot more exercising. I have a stimulating job. But the lack of a partner, of a relationship, of affection, of intimacy, still crushes me. It's something I long for daily, like in a daydream. I met someone and saw her for a few months, attached quickly, but nothing happened. She wasn't very clear with her intentions, left me waiting for a while and somehow friend-zoned me after. It kind of reactivated this frustration of having lost again a lot of time. Now, without other options, I went on dating apps. Even if I see myself as a probably higher than average good-looking fit guy with a great job, I still don't get too much attention. I guess I need to learn being rejected and be fine with it. I get desperate, liking a lot of profiles and even got on 2 first dates to see how it goes. I guess I'm still lucky to have had 2 first dates in 1 month of being on dating apps. I was scared I would attach again quickly on the first girl that shows me some attention. I was glad I didn't. The 2 first dates were nice, but there was no connection from either side. We tried both our best to still pass a good time. It's a grind. I know I still have a lot to learn, but I have a hard time of bearing this sort of weight on my soul. How long do I have to wait and work towards finding a woman that can show me affection again? I'm under the impression that I don't even remember when this happened with my ex. We were very young when we met. I don't even know if we loved each other. I'm even confused about what love is. I feel very lost, like I'm looking for something that I don't even know what it looks like. Fifth story. 17 years just thrown away. So 5 days ago, my wife of 14 years, together for 17, informed me that she has been seeing another guy for approximately the last 6 months. She only fessed up because I told her about a huge trip I wanted to plan with her for October 2025. I was planning this trip for us because we both are turning 40 and it would be our 15th wedding anniversary. She said she felt bad about leading me on. When she told me about her cheating, I asked her what her intentions were. Did she plan on trying to fix our relationship or was she done? Her response was, "I don't know." To me, that answer says it all. She doesn't seem to want to do anything towards fixing us. She keeps saying that she still loves me and that she wants us to remain friends. I don't see how she could love me after having an entire relationship with a random dude, and I definitely can't see how we could remain friends. I have been more than cordial with her. I have allowed her to stay in the house as she claims she has nowhere to go. I haven't removed her from my health insurance, car insurance, and even financial support. Unfortunately, she does not have the means to be out on her own, as she maybe earns $2,000 a month from her jobs. Even more unfortunate, I actually still care and don't want to see her sleeping in her car. Something that I need to mention is that about a year ago, my wife had weight loss surgery. Post-surgery, her hormones were all out of whack, causing mood swings, blowing up at the smallest things, etc. Regardless, I stood by her and supported her throughout everything. But she changed. Even her friends noticed that she had changed as a person. The reason I bring this up is because I ignored a lot of red flags initially under the assumption it was because of her weight loss. Looking back now, there were definitely a ton of red flags. She stopped sharing her location with me and would avoid the topic at all costs. She would make plans with me then cancel, saying her friend wanted to go out. Chores around the house stopped getting done. She would stay up late at night even when I begged her to come to bed with me. Not to mention a complete lack of intimacy for the last 2 months. She even confessed to telling some of our mutual friends before telling me, and none of them said anything to me. One even covered for her. I am hurt, mad, sad, scared, and basically every other emotion known to man. I am not the emotional type, but I find myself in a whirlwind of emotions, randomly breaking down, getting mad over the smallest stuff, etc. My wife was my best friend, and I am not sure how I can move forward without her. Update: I have been reading all your comments. Thank you for all the support and suggestions. Just to clarify some things, we are definitely getting divorced. I gave her one shot to try and make things right, but she has made it clear she doesn't see a future with us, and I am not going to force anyone to be in a position they don't want to be in. As one of you said, by saying "I don't know," that was essentially her saying no. I know I could never trust her again the same way I used to. You all might be right. I am definitely being too soft. Unfortunately, she has been planning this for 6 months, and I have had 5 days to process the information. She recently asked if we could still be friends after all is said and done. I damn near lost my mind. I didn't know what to say. I just shook my head and walked away. Thankfully, we don't have any kids, and our only real asset is our house. She wants to sell it and split the profits. I am looking into other options at this point, including just buying her out. Sixth story. Caught her sending crude photos. Here's some backstory. Dating about 6 months, and I decided it was about time to take our first real trip together. Everything was going smoothly on our trip until the 4th day out of 6, when we decided to go out drinking. Well, one thing led to another, and I was fairly intoxicated, but still about my wits, but she was gone. Once I noticed how drunk she was, I immediately decided to get us back home. As we were getting back to the hotel, she started to shove me and reprimand me for not understanding her and her career. The shove came out of nowhere, and after this I stopped to talk to her. and sat her down where she kept saying things like "you'll never understand the work I do blah blah." At this point I was downright confused and just feeling weird about the situation. Once we get back to the hotel room, she's throwing up, and while doing so her phone is being blown up with Instagram DMs from some guy. He sent about 20 videos and she hadn't responded, but I thought it was really weird that she hadn't unedited him. So I went to Snapchat. The rest is pretty blurry from memory, but I vividly remember seeing her sending nudes about a month before we left on the trip. I immediately confronted her, and she went from bent over the toilet drunk to screaming in my face for her phone back. She eventually smashed her phone on the ground in anger. She just didn't want me to find evidence. After the phone broke, she proceeded to be physically violent towards me, so I left around 4 a.m. to stay at a friend's house in town. We stayed distant the last 2 days, and we came back together even though I could have left her stranded with no phone on vacation. Even though she complained about how I never understood her job and how hard she worked, I still paid for everything while working and attending college. She has a jet and works minimum wage as a vet assistant 3 times a week. Now that we are back, she is begging me to get back with her, saying things like, "We only talked and that's it. He lived super far away so it didn't mean anything." She ghosted him for me because she realized she loved me. I don't know how to feel at this point. I'm not sure if I need closure, advice or whatever. She wants to meet up and get closure from me, but I'm unsure what that will do except for extend the breakup. We haven't talked in a couple weeks, and from the responses here it seems like it's gonna stay that way. Thanks for all the advice. 7th story. Caught wife emotionally cheating. Long story, about 10 months ago my wife of 6 years started to become distant from me and our family. She had started a new position at her work, so I figured that was it. There were a few things that were a little sketchy during that time, like getting messages from her boss later at night, her not wanting me to swing by her work, etc. Around Christmas time I was going to trade in one of her old phones to get her a new one for one of her Christmas gifts. Plugged the phone in to make sure it worked. When it pulled up, there went her apps, and I stupidity went into her Snapchat. Turned out there were a bunch of sexy and risque pictures that were not sent to me. Over the next couple of months, I did snooping. Turns out she was sending pictures to her boss, however he never responded to any of them. I confronted her and got gaslighting and accusations of invading her privacy. All came to a head one night and I left, called her boss in the middle of the night. He didn't say anything. The next day I was talked into coming back and trying to work it out by my friends and family for the sake of our children. She admitted to sending pictures and videos to him, but he never responded. Based on what I saw, that was true. And she says they never hooked up or met up. Again, based on some of the messages I saw, that looks to be true. I'm having a very hard time trusting her. My trust issues are probably causing more problems. I'm worried if I give in and let my guard down, she will take advantage of that. However, a part of me thinks that because I blew that situation up, it might have somewhat set her straight. Am I delusional?